The mute woman is the answer.
A man regains consciousness in a deep, dark pit, disoriented and surrounded by decaying bodies. He has no memory of who he is or how he ended up there. As he searches his pockets, he finds a lighter and some keys. Flicking the lighter on, he notices a wound on his arm and feels uncomfortable by the brutal sight around him. Then, a flash of lightning reveals a woman standing at the edge of the pit, staring at him, but she soon disappears. The man shouts for help, but the woman leaves him. While moving through the corpses, he finds a gun. Next, the woman reappears and tosses a rope into the pit. He climbs out with her help, but she vanishes before he can ask anything. After that, he makes his way through a dark, rain-soaked forest and eventually stumbles upon a house with its lights on. Inside the house, a group of people debates whether to help the man they saw in the pit. The man accuses one of them, Lucas, of being the killer responsible for the bodies. However, Lucas retaliates by pointing his shotgun at him and accusing him of the killings. Amid the standoff, the man explains that he has no memory of his identity and that a woman helped him escape the pit. He demands to know why she saved him, but his questions are interrupted by the agonizing screams of a man named Nathan lying on the floor. Next, a woman named Sharon offers him water while he asks if they know each other. The group explains that none of them remembers who they are or how they arrived at the house. A man named Michael places ID cards and car keys found among their belongings, which help them recall their names. Sharon, Lucas, Michael, and Nathan all have IDs, but there's nothing to identify the man from the pit or the woman, who seems to be mute. The man notices the woman scribbling symbols in Chinese. He demands answers, believing she knows more than the group. However, Sharon explains that the woman is mute, unable to speak or understand English. The group also reveals that the woman was already there when they all woke up inside the house. Lucas grows suspicious of the man from the pit, pointing out that while the group woke up together in the house, he was alone in a graveyard of bodies. Next, the group begins to explore the house. Sharon finds a locked door but can't open it with her keys. Meanwhile, the man finds a calendar in the pantry with the date April 18th circled. Curious, he shows it to the woman, who nods when he asks if she marked it. She attempts to explain its significance through gestures, but the man doesn't understand. Later, Michael and Lucas discover a closet full of weapons. Michael demonstrates his ease with handling a pistol, leading Nathan to speculate that he might be a cop. The man suggests they all arm themselves and investigate their surroundings, but Lucas insists it's better to wait until morning. After that, the man showers and tends to his wounds while the group announces that the woman has run off into the woods. Armed, the man, Lucas, and Sharon head into the forest to search for the woman, leaving Michael and Nathan to guard the house. As they walk through the dark woods, Sharon comments on the brilliance of the stars, noting they must be far from any city. The man recalls a memory of dragging a body with a tattoo of a scorpion, but keeps it to himself. Then a gruesome discovery interrupts their search: a man's body tied to a tree with barbed wire, emitting a foul smell. After that, they grow increasingly uneasy as they notice signs of more bodies nearby. Meanwhile, Nathan, flipping through books he found in the library, is surprised to realize he can read Latin and French and recognize medical terms. Michael, on the other hand, suspects this might be his house. Then the search party finds an old shack where they see the woman feeding another woman who is bound and disheveled. Upon seeing the man, the other woman panics and accuses him of having used her daughter. She tries to attack him, forcing him to knock her out to prevent harm. Lucas notices a camera in the shack, its light indicating someone is watching them. Back at the house, the man attempts to open a locked, reinforced iron door, but fails despite using various keys. Nathan approaches him, feeling a strange familiarity, and begins speaking in Latin. To his surprise, the man responds fluently. Nathan takes this as evidence they might have known each other before, but the man dismisses him, more concerned about the locked door. Nathan then asks him where he found all the keys and starts calling him John Doe because of his mysterious personality. The next morning, the group decides to search for cars, hoping to find a way to escape. Michael insists on joining, declaring himself the best shooter, and demonstrates his skills by shooting a mug midair. Despite this, Lucas orders him to stay behind and guard the house with the woman. After they leave, distant screams echo through the forest, and Michael sends the woman inside to lock the door before rushing to investigate. Meanwhile, the rest of the group stumbles upon a hidden cache of 2 cars buried under branches and barbed wire. Then Michael finds a man tangled in barbed wire, begging for help. When he moves closer to assist, the man attacks, choking Michael with the wire and stabbing him with a sharp stick. Later, Sharon manages to start one of the vehicles, but it is low on fuel. Then Lucas finds a photograph showing everyone in the group except the main man, who speculates that he could be the one who took the picture. After that, the woman finds them and leads them to Michael. They find him wounded, but are unable to save him as he succumbs to his injuries. The man shoots the attacker dead, and the woman is very sad to see Michael die. The man then takes Nathan's car keys and leaves with Sharon to search for answers. Next, the pair finds an abandoned building with the number 18 painted on its fence. While exploring, Sharon notices a boy running in the distance. They give chase, but the boy locks himself inside a room. Through a gap in the door, the man asks the boy if he knows them. The boy calls him Jonah and warns him to leave, saying someone is coming tomorrow. This revelation shocks the man as he finally learns his name. "Now we will call you Jonah." Meanwhile, back at the house, Lucas begins experiencing intense flashbacks. Fragments of memories show him running through the forest, being locked in a cage, and being found by the woman. In the present, as she gently touches his cheek, Lucas briefly recognizes her and grips her hand tightly in panic. Nathan intervenes, forcing Lucas to let go. Next, a large dog appears behind the door, barking aggressively. Jonah demands the boy send the dog away, but the child instead threatens to release it. In frustration, Jonah tries to break the padlock with his rifle but fails. Sharon pulls him aside, trying to calm him down, and their conversation leads to a surprising realization. They seem to know each other from before. At the house, Nathan tries to figure out why Lucas is having these symptoms and asks the woman to take him to the shack where they previously found the tied-up woman, only to discover she has escaped. Nathan follows a path around a nearby lake, feeling a strange sense of familiarity. His journey leads him to a cluster of houses surrounded by bodies. Inside one house, he steps on a pair of glasses, which trigger memories of himself arguing with some people about unethical treatment of others. He realizes the glasses belong to him. Meanwhile, the woman returns to the house and finds Lucas. She runs upstairs as Lucas begs her not to leave him, saying he remembers her. But she locks herself in the room with the reinforced iron door. Lucas then goes outside and discovers a small door leading to the basement. Inside, he finds a makeshift laboratory filled with medical supplies, research notes, human brains, and a laptop connected to security cameras showing empty cells. Meanwhile, Nathan continues his search and discovers the escaped woman crying over her dead daughter's body. When she sees him, she attacks, but Nathan narrowly escapes by locking her inside the cabin. As he steps outside, zombie-like individuals begin closing in, and Nathan manages to escape. Next, Lucas finds a camera with a video of Jonah documenting experiments on Lucas and the woman. In the video, Jonah explains that it is day 96 of a study, revealing that he is attempting to transfer blood from the woman to Lucas, who seems to be affected by something. The transfusions result in memory loss, but show promising progress. As Jonah and Sharon make their way back to the house, a tree suddenly falls in their path. They stop the car just in time and hear noises nearby. Following the sound, they discover a group of people cutting down trees. When Jonah tries to approach them, the group screams and aggressively chases after him and Sharon. They run back to their car, but it won't start. Jonah begins pushing it as the attackers close in. Just as they're about to strike, the group notices 2 corpses hanging from trees and retreats in fear. Jonah realizes the bodies are used to scare off the attackers and prevent them from closing in. Back at the house, Lucas waits for them, armed and furious. He accuses Jonah of being responsible for their suffering, claiming that video recordings in the basement prove Jonah experimented on them. Sharon demands an explanation, but Jonah insists he remembers nothing. Lucas shows Sharon the video, which brings her to tears. Then Lucas knocks Jonah unconscious with the butt of his rifle. When Jonah wakes, he finds himself being dragged to the pit of corpses. Lucas forces him into the pit filled with bodies. Among them, Jonah recognizes a woman with a scorpion tattoo triggering memories of him killing her. Meanwhile, back at the house, Lucas becomes increasingly unstable. He demands car keys from Sharon. She urges him to calm down, but he shoves her aside and chases after the woman. After catching her, he violently attempts to assault her, but Sharon intervenes just in time, firing a warning shot. Lucas escapes by jumping through a window and fleeing into the forest. In the pit, Jonah struggles to breathe until the woman appears and throws him a rope. After climbing out, Jonah tells her to return to the house for her safety while he searches for the boy who might have answers. Jonah arrives at the abandoned building and finds the door open. Inside, he discovers a map with a marked route, triggering flashbacks of him entrusting a man with a container and emphasizing its importance, calling it their last chance. Next, Jonah stumbles upon two infected individuals in a zombified state. As one roars and lunges at him, he drops the car keys. The woman grabs the keys and swallows them before attempting to attack. Jonah is forced to shoot her and retrieves the bloodied keys from her. After that, he continues driving and comes across a family on the road, including the boy from earlier. An older woman armed with a shotgun warns Jonah to stay away and accuses him of hurting them with his injections. Jonah notices the boy's sister, visibly infected and restrained in the back seat, but the family leaves before he can get answers. Nearby, Jonah discovers the container from his flashbacks, filled with vials of the vaccine. He also finds an abandoned car with the driver's corpse inside, along with a map and a photograph of himself and Sharon, proving they were a couple. Flashbacks reveal Jonah's work on a virus that attacks the human brain, with the vials containing a life-saving vaccine. Later, as Jonah remembers more about his past, he is attacked by Lucas, whose condition has worsened, making him look almost like the infected individuals. Jonah rushes to help and tries to administer the vaccine, explaining that he's a doctor and it could save him. However, Lucas attacks Jonah and attempts to strangle him. Then Jonah strikes Lucas with a rock, but the blow is fatal. As Lucas dies in Jonah's arms, Jonah remembers that Lucas had once been successfully cured and had even thanked him alongside the others. Their celebration of this breakthrough had been cut short when an infected woman escaped her cage and attacked, triggering the downfall of their operation. Meanwhile, Nathan is sitting under a body when he suddenly remembers everything. He rushes back to the house, reuniting with Sharon, but soon they are attacked by infected individuals and try to defend themselves. Next, Jonah's memories fully return as he makes his way back to the house. He recalls ordering everyone to inject themselves with the vaccine as the outbreak spiraled out of control. Jonah himself had been bitten by an infected and injected the vaccine into his own arm just before falling into the pit of corpses. As dawn breaks on the 18th, Nathan and Sharon continue their desperate fight against the infected. Jonah races to help them as the sound of helicopters grows louder. Soldiers arrive and quickly eliminate the infected, but Nathan suddenly remembers the rescue operation planned for the 18th. Believing they are saved, he rushes outside to signal the military. Tragically, the soldiers mistake him for an infected and kill him. Next, Jonah and Sharon are horrified and try to escape. The woman successfully hides in the forest, while Sharon is stabbed by the infected woman from earlier. Jonah shoots the infected woman and rushes Sharon to the pit as the soldiers approach. Jonah injects her and himself with the vaccine. Sharon passes out after handing him a note explaining everything so he can remember next time he wakes up. Jonah also passes out, and the soldiers throw more bodies into the pit, including the young boy. Sometime later, Jonah regains consciousness but has lost his memories again. He finds Sharon's lifeless body and frees himself from the pit. In his disoriented state, he steps on the note, losing it among the bodies. The woman arrives once again and rescues him with a rope. Seriously, where does this woman find these ropes? While Jonah and the woman walk through the forest, Sharon's voice narrates the contents of her lost note. She reveals that she, Jonah, and Nathan were doctors working to cure a deadly epidemic. The woman is the key to the cure, as she possesses natural immunity to the virus. Jonah and the woman eventually reach the edge of an enormous pit filled with thousands of bodies. Sharon then reveals that there are still people waiting to be saved, hinting that humanity is not completely lost after all. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.